What up, guys? So this past weekend at the ADCC trials, the West Coast trials, I was talking to a young guy, and we were just chatting about what we were seeing at the competition in Jiu-Jitsu in general. And he asked me, Chewy, what is the meta in Jiu-Jitsu right now? What is the meta at the ADCC right now? And I was talking to another young guy. This must be a young person word, right? Meta. He said, the meta right now is this, right? And if you want to give an acronym to the idea, to the word meta, you would be most effective tactics available, right? So it's what you think sort of the best thing that's winning everything, the most dominant available thing right now is. And, I told both of these guys, in my bearded opinion, of course, that I don't think there is a meta, so to speak, with techniques or positions. Because one, if you look at even brand new positions that pop up, I've been around for 20 years in Jiu-Jitsu, 20 plus years, you'll see new techniques and positions pop up, and they will enjoy an advantage over people who don't know them early on, but we all adapt pretty quickly, we figure out what's going on, and then we adjust. And so whatever advantage that they enjoy is short-lived. And at certain competitions, you will see trends based on the point system and the way that the rules are. So for instance, like ADCC, you'll see a lot of turtling and you'll see a lot of back taking because the points are such that they incentivize the turtle heavily. Like if I take you down and you go to turtle, no points. If I sweep you and you turtle, no points. If I pass you and you turtle, ditto. And so it incentivizes the competitor to have a good back taking game from turtle. And so when you watch the matches, you'll see a lot of people taking the back. You'll see a lot of turtling. It's a very common thing that's happening when they're playing the rules. Now, again, that's not the meta. That's not the most effective tactic available. It's just one of them. But it's something you should probably have in your arsenal if you're going to compete under ADCC rules, right? But if I had to say, just looking at this tournament from this past weekend, if I had to say that there was a meta, right? Because this young guy was like, what's the meta? If I had to say there was a meta, if you look at the people that placed, all the people that placed in both first through third, all the people on the podium at the ADCC trials this past weekend, every one of them is in shape. Strongly built, muscular, not holding a lot of extra non-lean body mass around. We'll call it that, right? Fluff. And again, it makes sense because a sport or competition, a martial art that has a heavy emphasis on endurance, like Jiu-Jitsu, there's no benefit from you holding a lot of extra non-lean body mass around, right? It's not helping you perform better. It's not helping you improve. It's literally dragging you down, depending on how much you have. I mean, everybody has a little bit of non-lean body mass, but again, there is a point where we all know it's a little bit too much. And even if you have to cutting weight for like a competition like the ADCC, again, the weight classes are so darn big that a lot of people have to do a little bit of a water cut. And if you're going to do a water cut, again, it's better to do it with a leaner body mass, with a leaner body composition. So for instance, if you had two people that were 200 pounds and they had to do a water cut, the person that is leaner will be able to cut weight easier than the person that is not as lean, that has a higher body fat percentage at the same weight. Why is that? Well, because muscle holds more water than fat does. I think fat's around 10% and I think muscle's around 70%. I could be wrong on those percentages, but that's the rough thing that I read up on about it. And again, so what this means is if I'm leaner and I'm holding less body fat, then I can basically suck the water out of those muscles and I can rehydrate and pump them back up. Whereas a person that has more body fat, they will not have as much muscle tissue to pull the water out of. And so again, it's going to be a harder cut for them. And so again, for the weight cuts, which a lot of competitors do, you can cut more weight if you're a leaner competitor, leaner person, right? But this is something I talk to a lot of jiu-jitsu practitioners about, people getting into competition. If you're holding around extra weight and you're competing and it's putting you in a different weight class or you're just having to lug it around, it's a good idea to get on a good diet. Don't think about cutting weight. Think about getting on a good diet, a good strength training program, adding some extra cardio into the mix before your competitions. That stuff is so important. Again, we geek out on techniques, we geek out on positions and all that stuff, and it's great. It's good, but again, when you're talking about people that are winning competitions, in a lot of cases, there's a lot of other stuff going on to the mix, and they're getting their body together with strength conditioning, a good diet, and a lot of extra cardio too. Not saying everybody does that, but generally you see a good deal of that. So again, just an idea to chew on if you're getting ready for a competition or whatever. That is what I think the meta is. I don't think it's a technique or a position. I think it's more of people bringing their bodies in good shape, good athletic condition, and then letting their techniques do the work from there. So that's the idea to chew on. I'll talk to you guys next time.